listeners and viewers. Welcome to another episode of Wine. I'm Tia, and today I am drinking Dasani Sparkling Tropical Pineapple.
I was like, oh, that sounds so Dasani. Got it. That sounds
fancy.
Still sounds delicious, though.
I can't stop laughing today. I'm Miska, and I'm drinking peach pear seltzer water.
I'm Treese, and I'm drinking El Sancho Escudero. It is a white wine from Spain.
Whoa.
Sounds good.
Mm-hmm. And I'm Jenilyn, and I am drinking a Four Hands Brewing Company beer, Divided Sky Rye IPA. Four Hands Company is from St. Louis. It's a local brewing company, and just little endorsement. There you go.
Hashtag ad. Hashtag sponsored.
Hashtag
Drop
sponsor
that
us.
right there. Boom drop.
Boom drop.
Boom drop. I made it up right now.
Trending. It's trending.
And I'm Shirley, and I'm drinking Frontera Malbec.
So today we're going to have a special wine talks, and we're actually going to make this a two-part series. Our topic is going to be the representation of people of color in the media. Today we're going to cover bad representations of people of color in the media, and then next week we'll take it to positive representations. Quick disclaimer, if you happen to be listening to us on your way to work or you're at work, maybe don't pour yourself a glass of your favorite alcoholic beverage. But if you're not driving and your ass is plopped right here at home, maybe pour yourself a glass of wine, beer, liquor, I don't care. Just make sure it has some alcohol in it. If you're not drinking alcohol tonight, get yourself some sparkling water or another beverage of your choice. So please remember to always drink responsibly, relax, and join us for wine. Now let's get sipping.
Well, that's
Did you feel really cool, Jen? As Tia mentioned in our intro, we will be discussing the negative or bad representations of people of color in media. And this topic came about, I'll own up to it, because after the amazing euphoria of Black Panther, I then saw advertisements for, I don't even want to say his name, Tyler Perry's new movie. I forgot what it's called now. Someone can fact check that. Acrimony. And it was another, I think, typical Tyler Perry movie. I haven't seen any of his movies. I've seen enough just from the advertisements and like family members and friends talking about his movies, and I was just never interested. But it's about a woman scorned, I believe, and a woman scorned and just an angry Black woman, it seemed like, throughout the whole movie. Treese, go ahead and share what you've heard about it.
Okay, so I did not see this movie, but I did have family members who saw it. And if you haven't seen it, I'm about to spoil it because I told them I had no intentions of going to see it, so they told me what happened. Basically, this woman supported this man throughout their entire relationship because he had a dream. And I guess he made like situations where she felt like she couldn't trust him and that she was just really giving all she can give, like truly pouring into this relationship financially, emotionally, everything. And her sisters and family members got involved and convinced her to then break up with him and get a divorce. And he did not want that. He wanted to fight for his relationship and his marriage and continue to pursue whatever dream he had, which is also classic Tyler Perry. And so his dream ended up coming true and to fruition, where he became this millionaire for this idea that he had. And he also, at the same time, like after divorcing her, he ended up entering a relationship with another woman, marrying her, having a child. She got to live basically the other woman's dream life, which is Taraji's character. And so the point, I guess the discussion that my family members were having was about listen, not necessarily the negative part about the representation, but just like, do women involve other people? This is what happens when you involve other women or other people in your relationship. And also for the guy of like, he could have, even though he was like, he was really focused on his dream, he could have done better to be there for her, like pour into the marriage as much as she was in some way. But,
so Taraji was the first wife, or?
yes. And he actually did end up compensating her. So Taraji, the first wife, he gave her $10 million because she used, I guess he used some of the money that they were saving or something to pursue this dream. And so he basically gave her some money to help, like as a way to apologize and try to make amends for all the finances and things that she poured into their marriage while they were together.
So, okay, let me see if I understand. Taraji's character got her friends and family involved before the divorce, or after, when he got before the divorce?
Before, yeah, they have, like, you know how you go to your friends for advice or stuff.
Right.
That's so you don't even don't go to them for the advice. You have those overbearing family members or friends who just like to be all up in your business and give you unsolicited advice. And she listened to them.
Okay, and then she was upset because this new woman was now living the life that she was supposed to have.
Yes, with him. Mm-hmm. So if that can help you with even more,
right? Well, yeah, and again, I haven't seen it, so obviously I'm very ignorant to like the whole like nuances of the film. I will own up to that. I guess in the movie, it just seemed like, number one, it seemed like Taraji was the current wife and he was cheating with the new wife, and obviously then upset about that. But if they were divorced already, so she was seeking some type of acrimony / alimony, and was just pissed because he made it.
Yeah, because she felt like the life that he was living was supposed to be with her. Like everything that this new woman got, that she spent all her time.
She built him up, and someone else is getting, okay.
She felt like he owed her. Is that what that is?
But the twist is the twist is of the part is like he gave her $10 million to compensate for, I guess, the hurt or whatever. And he also, like, I guess it was some house or something that was lost, and he even got the house back. It was just a lot of, I don't know, people had mixed feelings about it from what
that's weird.
From my research, which is my family.
Great sources. I accept those primary sources. Okay. Okay, I guess getting that synopsis, I still have questions. Like, why does she care anymore if they're divorced? And number two, how come he still ended up paying? I mean, that's nice. But is that the argument of, I don't know what acrimony is. Y'all, I'm extremely ignorant about this all. But anyway, we could get into like the actual nuances of the film. But my issue with it was, I feel as though Tyler Perry has a history of representing Black people in the messiest situations. And I particularly was annoyed coming after, again, the euphoria of Black Panther. I was just like, can't we just be great and just be great? Like, why do we still need these trash ass films? Like, why? So for me, that's like the an entertainer, big wig, I guess, in entertainment, that I feel like as a person of color does people of color an injustice by only showing the messy sides of our relationships, personalities, whatever. Any other thoughts?
I have a lot of thoughts on Tyler Perry as a person, as a movie maker. I don't know if you all know, some of Black Panther was filmed in his studio. So we can't completely separate him from the greatness. I personally am not the biggest fan of his films for several reasons. I've seen many of them. They're not all bad, but there is always this weird relationship, particularly with Black women, and the way that he portrays them as angry or as broken or as all these things. And there's also like this weird dynamic of like darker, like what's it called, colorism stuff going on in the movies as well, where there'll be like a darker skinned Black man and he will be the cheating husband or the this husband or the that husband, and then the new man is always light skinned. We know this, Tyler. We see you. So that's a problem for me. But at the same time, Tyler Perry, before this resurgence of, you know, our Avas and our Ryan Cooglers and what am I forgetting? One more person. Black Panther. It was 3 of them. Ava DuVernay. Did I say Ava? Okay. Ava, Ryan. I'm still forgetting someone. Anyway, but before that, Tyler Perry keeps Black people working. Now, the quality of work, okay. But there are Black people working. And I just have always had this very like uneasy relationship with him, which I feel like is an uneasy relationship in general with the media that we are portrayed, with the way that we are portrayed, because I feel, on one hand, I feel like, why can't we have higher quality, better plot development, better character development, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. I also like to question where we get those standards from. And are we measuring that against white people shit? Because I really don't care. Because not me, but my family or the people around me like it and enjoy it. And it often feels like, to me, just like when there's things that women like, if it's something that a lot of Black people like, we automatically portray it as something poor quality or something. So I believe her name, is it Sylvia Obell or Doreen St. Felix? If I can think of the article, I'll bring it up, about Tyler Perry and kind of our mixed relationship with him at family reunions, at holidays, who got the new play, who got this, and it is a way for us to come together. And I don't want to shit on that. I don't want to shit on like what he does for, or what his work does for the churchy Black folk during, you know, Thanksgiving after we eat. But I do think that he could use some correction and repurposing of the way that he does portray us in many of the movies. Sorry, that was super long-winded.
No, that's okay.
That was good,
That
though.
was like my initial reaction too, like when his stuff started coming out and becoming more mainstream. I was like, yo, Black people working, hey.
Mm-hmm.
So that was my issue, was that like excitement about Black people getting work, but there's enough negative representation of us in white people shit.
Mm-hmm.
And we got this Black person making movies that's also kind of doing the same thing. So it's just like, but you're not showing anything different.
Mm-hmm.
And you have the opportunity to do so.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why I just never got into it, because I was tired of seeing the same thing from a Black creator.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
I've never watched any Tyler Perry movies myself, so I don't know like the character development or anything, but do you think that anyone's like telling him that? Because like it doesn't seem like he's changing his ways of like how to make movies.
They are telling him that he does not care.
He just doesn't listen, or like he's just doing what he knows is going to work. And is
Right.
It feels like that. And that's where I'm stuck in the rock and the hard place, because I feel like if Black people, what's annoying for me, I guess, is that like, I don't like to hear about no white people watching Medea and shit like that. Like, I don't like that shit, because you laughing too hard and it's not for you. You know that it's not for you. But if my auntie and them want to watch that shit and they like it, cool. Like, I don't see, like, I feel like everything we watch doesn't have to be Black Panther. It doesn't. Right. And if that's what it's for us, and I'm just tired of us having to move our posts for it to be perceived in a certain way.
That makes me sorry.
Even though I don't like his shit, I don't. But I'm also, I'm not particularly churchy. I'm not. That's not my shit. But I enjoy, like I said, the camaraderie that it brings upon amongst Black people. And so even if a lot of it is garbage, you know.
That reminds me of, I think of Tiffany Haddish and also Leslie Jones and their style of comedy. And a lot of people within the Black community have a problem with the way that they portray Black characters. But it's that thing of, I don't feel like I should have to change, or she shouldn't have to change just to make other people feel more comfortable with her Blackness, if you want to call it that.
Yeah.
Something to think about.
Sorry.
No,
I feel like that comes from a place of which we could have a whole episode about, like, respectability politics and how that infiltrates all of our ideals about how we're supposed to behave and how we're supposed to move, especially in front of like other people, which shouldn't be a thing, because time and experience has shown us over and over again that it don't matter if you talk in quote unquote proper English. It don't matter if you wear a suit instead of your pants sagging. None of these things matter. They still gonna treat you like a nigga. So so be yourself. And that is like where I get kind of like in the blurry lines, because it's just like, what are we changing for? If this is who you are, then be who you are. And there are many, many, many facets of being a non-white person. There are. And there's no reason for us to try to be something else, because regardless, they still gonna kill us. They still gonna call us coons. They still gonna be mad when there's a Black Panther instead of a White Panther. This is still gonna be a thing, no matter what. So let people be who they're gonna be.
And I think that's probably why Tyler Perry sticks to his movies. Like, I know y'all don't like him, but like my family loves Tyler Perry. And I enjoy a movie or two of his. I have some that I enjoy. Family That Prays is my shit.
Oh yeah, that was a good one. That one was good. It was outside of the... Actually, now that I think about it, the ones that aren't Medea aren't that horrible.
Right.
Like because Why Did I Get Married is not that bad either.
Nope, it's
like
not.
Both of those. So yeah.
But what I was gonna say was, with his stuff, like, he feels like he doesn't want to change because he has this church fan base who he continues to cater to, who actually helped him build that studio that he has in Atlanta from all the support that they gave him. But he do, even with all the nuances and stuff, he do try to give like some storyline or some like educational purpose or meaning towards, even though Medea crazy, she still makes sense at the end, because she'll like at some point have this come to Jesus moment, that one moment where she like feeling like she want to be a good person that day, and like and like put some knowledge on some people about like relationships and love, or just being a good person, even though she likes to pretend that she's not a good person half the time. But so that's kind of like the other part that I like, the warm and fuzzies of like the storytelling behind it. Like, even though he's acting, not portraying us Black people necessarily in the most positive light, that he does try to have some kind of storytelling and meaning to it. Like, even with family reunion, how, bringing families together and like respecting
that one, Shirley.
Yeah, we do have that aspect of it too. So it's like that scale, what you were saying, Miss, about like, does his good outweigh the bad of like what, and then should he change his scene, because he's continually like focusing on his base. He hasn't changed. And his base is actually only grown because more, I guess, since now, like, he's more mainstream, like more white people are watching.
I think you make a good point, Treese, because thinking of what you're saying, but then also, and you're saying like you're not particularly churchy. I think also, because I'm trying to like unpack, I hate that phrase, but here we are. I'm trying to like unpack why my issues started with Tyler Perry. And again, going back to me being so excited about Black people being represented in movie by a Black creator, I think my issue is that his characters and his family dynamics are not what I grew up with. So I still felt locked out of, in some ways, the Black community in that way, like like I didn't feel represented. So therefore I was just like, but that's not, like, my family's not like that. Like, that's not what I know. That's not who I am. That's not how we be. So I guess, like, you know what I mean? Like, so I just, never connected, and it never seemed like a positive representation. So I just couldn't connect with it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Which I feel is fair. I feel like that's fair. I just feel like I just lost my thought, so ignore me. Go ahead. I cannot.
So moving from Tyler, because this could be like a whole thing, we do want to broaden out to other creators, other people of color, and them being represented in movies, TV, and all of that. Are there any other examples?
I got a couple.
Almost every Hallmark movie, the Black people are all helpers. Well, hold on. The people of color, because they have other people of color.
They have some Asians up in there, but they're never the lead.
They're always the sidekicks. And there's usually only just one or two. Like maybe the best friend is a person of color, and then maybe her husband sometimes if he shows up. Or it'll be like the second dad of the male character will be a brown guy who gives him sage advice and helps him fix all his problems behind the scenes.
I'm still waiting for a movie that has some Asian people in it. That's not like a superhero movie.
There's
Who knows when it'll
out
come
in August.
Oh, see, I need to watch that link. I mean,
coming out in August. I forget what it's called, but
I think Asian people are starting to like break into it, and I appreciate that. But it's never like, we're never leads, and it's always, like I said, it's like a superhero movie or something like that. It's never just like a wholesome family drama. Though that
it's
TV show
in August, Crazy Rich Asians. I'm so excited.
Really?
Yeah, that's what it's called.
What about a good fighting movie, Jinx?
You owe me a bottle of wine.
I cannot think of who or what it was. So this is gonna sound like some bullshit, but not some bullshit because it really happened. But oftentimes, like, I forgot what other podcast I was listening to, but they were talking about character development and how oftentimes characters who are based on either a video game or a book or something else, and then it turns into a movie, magically the Asian person is suddenly white.
Ooh.
And it's now, I can't give me specific examples.
Airbender.
Airbender.
Ghost in the Shell.
Oh yeah,
Ghost in the
Ghost
Shell.
in the Shell.
Iron Fist. There were a couple characters that were supposed to be Asian on Iron Fist.
The good old traditional Mickey Rourke in Breakfast at Tiffany's.
Oh.
That
was bad.
Why y'all acting like there aren't any
Right.
to be these people in these films?
Cleopatra.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Elizabeth Taylor.
Super whitewashing.
And I saw that new picture they tried to put out to my, this is what she looked like. And
Michael Jackson, Joseph Fiennes.
That was
forgot about that.
As did I.
Oh,
That is a good point. I just don't understand how like things like that go through in Hollywood. You know, you would think that there would be like some sort of focus group to be like, hey, maybe not hire a white person and just hire this colored person.
People working together, patting.
I got another one.
That's true.
All of West Side Story. How about that, T?
I love West Side Story though.
I
But you know
love
what?
it.
I get it. No, I know.
We gonna go there. But I guess it also goes back to like just thinking about the writers and the production and like the producers and all the people they have in the behind the scenes that's putting these shows together also need to be represented at the table, because then maybe people can have a voice and say like, well, we actually need to get a Black woman for this role, or we really need to get a Mexican woman for this role.
Mm-hmm.
Like get like each role fits that character, or even I don't know. Yeah, I don't know.
I think part of it too, just to kind of wrap up and move into what we'll be discussing next week, is that I think a big part of it is just laziness, number one, but also assumptions that movie makers or producers make, is that like, oh, especially when it comes to like comic books, right? Is that like, the white audience wouldn't be able to handle seeing like a Black person playing this role or whatever. Like, it's this assumption that like it has to be whitewashed because people won't be able to accept it. And then just laziness of just being like, these are the names that we know. These are names that are going to bring in money. So this is what we're going to go with. Damn what everyone else thinks, because we're going to get the money anyway. You know,
and that's
that trumps being better.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
That's where I call BS, because Black Panther happened, Independence Day happened on Will Smith. Denzel Washington has been breaking records and selling out movies and shit. Like, it's, I mean, there's other, I mean, those are just Black men, but there's other, if they do a movie right, Wonder Woman, like if they do a superhero movie right, or the movie right in general with the script and everything, people will go out to see these movies. Like, it wasn't that we just didn't have these movies for like the last 20 or 30 years. Like, the 90s was banging with Black movies. Like, I feel like I was in a movie like almost every other weekend back in the day.
True.
And then all of a sudden, like the early 2000s, like after Girlfriends was kind of over, it was like a 10-year gap where we didn't even get Black movies. And I can't speak for the other like racial groups, but I know for Black people, we weren't really getting Black movies. And so I think that's where Tyler Perry was able to come in at, because there was no roles for Black women. And even, you know, Scandal happened.
So I guess that's like a good transition. I will give Tyler these small props of at least being able to create content for Black people, for minorities. But there are also a lot of people that have been doing representation the right way. And that's what we will be discussing in the next podcast. That is part 2 of this conversation. So be sure to check in with us next week as we discuss that.
Thank you for listening to another episode of Wine. You can find our podcast on Podbean, iTunes, YouTube, and Google Play. You can also follow and like us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at Wine Podcast with an S. Please rate, review, and subscribe. We appreciate any and all feedback, and we'll catch you next time. Bye.
Bye, everyone.
Bye-bye.
See you for part 2.